So in today's video, maybe we do one that is not so fun. I do many videos on reasons on why to move to the state of Utah and what is great about the state of Utah. But how about we do a video on why not to make a move to the state of Utah? After all, if you look at some of my videos, the comments down below, you'll see comments like, "Don't move here, we're full, you're not wanted, go away, it's a terrible place to live." So let's do a video on why not to move to the state of Utah. Let's get after it right now. Welcome to the Living in Utah channel. I'm Mike Gallagher. I'm a local real estate agent right here in the area. If this is your first time to my channel, you may consider tapping that subscribe button down below and that bell notification, and you'll receive an alert every time I release a new video. And that's every week. And honestly, we've been helping so many people from all over the world buy or sell real estate right here in the area, and we absolutely love it. So if I can be of any assistance, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, whether it's days, nights, or weekends. We got your back when moving to the U state. So as I was trying to make this list, it was a little bit difficult. After all, I love the state of Utah, and I think it's one of the greatest places to live that we have in the United States. You will probably never hear me saying it is the greatest place to live. I really don't believe that there is one single location that would meet everybody's needs. If you were to rank all the places in the United States, I think, in my opinion, that Utah would rank in the upper portion of the list. First on the list, growth. Whether it's current or future growth. There are many people who have lived here for many years. Probably some people for their whole life that thinks the state is overcrowded. They'd like to go back to the population levels we had 20, 30, 40 years ago. And I constantly hear it's not what it used to be. It's more crowded. It's overcrowded. But the fact is, Utah is growing. But I think it's a positive growth. I think it's all been positive for the state. But overall, the bottom line is the state is growing by record numbers, and that growth is expected to continue. The people that do the forecasting for the future are showing this growth to constantly continue. So if you're not a huge fan of growth, the state of Utah is projected to grow even more. And there are cities that are pretty much full. There's very little land in some cities to build new housing developments like St. George, Provo, Salt Lake City, Ogden, but there are suburbs around those cities that are filling up very quickly and still have some room to growth in some of the suburbs. Now with this growth also has come high-paying jobs and better jobs. We have a huge tech industry located in a couple areas of the state, and then we've got a military base that is just expanding, which has brought many defense contractors and many engineering jobs and tech jobs and computer science jobs. And then the state of Utah has marketed itself as an outdoor recreational destination, and those outdoor recreational companies are moving to Utah. So there are jobs in some areas to do with hiking, biking, skiing, etc. And with the growth, the state is collecting more tax dollars, which is a good thing. I think I'd rather be in a state that is collecting more money than having a shortage of money and having to go to the people and say, hey, we're broke, we're out of money, we can't pay our bills. It's good to have a little excess money. And right now, the state has a surplus of money, even with the pandemic. And you figure the businesses that were shut down during the pandemic, the restaurant industry, the hotels, the gyms, all had some rough times. But right now, on Capitol Hill, the lawmakers are arguing about how to spend the excess money. What a problem to have, spend the excess money. Well, since I helped some people move here with some of my videos, maybe I could get on the list for some of that surplus money. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. I'm sure they're not even thinking about me. Now, are we seeing some traffic issues? Yes. There was a time that I could just blast right through the Salt Lake Valley. Now it's congested, whether you're going north to south, east to west, depending on what time of day it is. It can be slow and go. But the state is working as fast as they can to build new roads or to improve some of the roads that they currently have. Maybe they're also changing like some of the traffic lights and the freeway off-ramps and entrances to make traffic flow a little bit better. Now, also, are we seeing long lines at movie theaters and restaurants? Yes. Used to be on a Friday night, Saturday night, you could just walk into a restaurant and get a table. Now you have to wait in line or make reservations. Are recreational areas more crowded? Yes, very much. The campgrounds are packed solid. As a matter of fact, most campgrounds right now, you have to book a spot for the weekends. And for some holiday weekends, you may have to book months in advance to get a spot. So there is some good news on the overcrowded larger cities. You can always find areas outside of the city to live. Let's take, for instance, St. George. There's Hurricane. Right outside of St. George, an area that still has some land available. The Provo, Orem area, you can go to areas like Spanish Fork and Salem. If you're looking at Salt Lake City, you can choose areas like Draper, South Jordan, or maybe to the north, Layton, Kaysville, Farmington. If you're looking at the Ogden area, you can move to the west, like West Haven, up to Pleasant View, Far West, Plain City, North Ogden, or South Ogden, just outside of some of these major cities. So number 2 on my list, I'm going to call this one the 4 weather seasons. Maybe you don't like the cold or the snow. Maybe you don't like the extreme heat. Maybe you don't like areas that are full of high humidity. Maybe you just don't like spring and fall. Well, in Utah, we have a true 4 seasons. During springtime, if you're living in northern Utah, you will experience rain. During the summertime, if you're living in northern Utah, temperature-wise, it can be 90 to 100 degrees with low humidity. Now, if you're living in southern Utah, temperatures can easily be 100 to 115 degrees. In the fall time in northern Utah, you will see some rain. Now, when it comes to wintertime, if you're in southern Utah, there is a small chance of snow. I get criticized about this one all the time. I say in St. George, it does not snow. Typically, when they get a little bit of snow, it's a wee little dusting. You go out there with a little blower and probably blow it away or swoosh it away with a little broom. They really don't get any snow, in my opinion. And anything that does snow on the ground, it will probably melt within a few hours. Now, if you're in northern Utah, you will receive snow. But lately, in northern Utah, the winters have been mild, probably for the last 5 to 10 years. When it snows, it usually melts away a few hours to a few days later, and you are back to dry roads. Now, on the grass and in your backyard, you will still see snow. It can pile up and stay in those particular areas. Also, with the snow, you may have to wash your car more often, especially if you like to drive around in a clean car, maybe once, twice, 3 times a week. That's okay. In Utah, it seems like we have plenty of car washes. Everywhere I go, I see new car washes popping up. It's probably the fastest growing business that we have in Utah. So you may consider joining the monthly pass club so that you can get your car washed as often as you would like. I got a question for you. Are you seeing the car wash business growing in your state, or is that just a thing that's happening in the state of Utah? Curious to know. Also, as mild as the winters are, it still gets cold here. So if you come from an area with no winters, Arizona, California, New Mexico, you may consider purchasing some warm clothes, hoodies, sweaters, jacket, gloves. You may also consider purchasing a vehicle that has all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. Although clients who meet me are surprised to find out that I run around in a front-wheel drive car. I seem to make it through all the snowstorms with no problem, just with front-wheel drive. But also, if you're moving to the St. George, Utah area, make sure your home and your car have good working AC systems. It does get a little toasty down there during the middle of the summer. Good working AC system, very important. So in Utah, you'll have to put up with a true 4 seasons. For the most part, people seem to love the 4 seasons, but some people do not. Third on my list, transportation, or maybe lack of public transportation in some areas. Now, we have a very good bus system in the state. Most cities, you can take a bus to certain locations. And if you're in the Salt Lake Valley area, we have a light rail system. So between the light rail system and the bus system, you can get just about anywhere in the Salt Lake Valley. Then we have the Front Runner train. It's an above ground train that goes from Provo to Ogden, Utah. Great way to travel. But if you're living in St. George, Utah, you pretty much only have a bus system. That's it. We really need to expand the Front Runner train all the way up to Logan and all the way down to St. George, Utah. Let's say you have a doctor's appointment or you'd like to see a specialist in Salt Lake City, maybe up at the Huntsman Cancer Institute, the University of Utah Hospital, or Primary Children's Hospitals, all top hospitals in the state that a lot of people like to go to. It would be nice to be able to just get on a train and get there with public transportation. And this would also help with our air pollution issue. But if you want to visit the national parks, the sand dunes, go ride a UTV, the ski resorts, the hiking, the biking trails, the lakes, the camping spots, you probably will need a car. You could take a Uber. Yes, you could. But how do you get all your gear in there? Your skis, your fishing poles. If you're going to the sand dunes, how do you put your UTV on the back of somebody's car to get down there? It's all a big challenge, so you may need a car. So I got a relative of mine that moved to the state of Utah, and when he moved here, he told me, Mike, I'm not going to buy a car. I don't need a car. I disagreed with him. I said, you probably will need a car. He works from home. He orders mostly everything online, Amazon, Walmart. He takes a Uber to most places. Well, last summer, he wanted to go riding with me. So I picked him up in the truck, took the UTV out. We did some great riding, and he was hooked. He wants to go again. He had a great time. So I told him, you're going to have to buy a truck or an SUV and a UTV so that we can go riding together. And he still insists on not buying a vehicle. Well, we'll see what happens. Riding season is coming up right around the corner, and he's already contacted me about going riding. So hopefully he purchases that new UTV and that vehicle. So in conclusion, that's my list. I had a hard time coming up with that list. I love the state of Utah. I think it's a great place to live. If you have any questions about the U state, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. Until the next video, take care and stay safe.